Hello, happy Tuesday. Welcome to another staff video update. This is Michael, and I'm in one random room at the church. We've got a nice painting on the wall and Hope on the shelf. Fun place to be. So anyways, the point of this video, as always, is to encourage and inform you guys and to thank you for what you do as volunteers and staff in our ministry. Hopefully you were able to be there this past Friday as we went to the ACC Women's Tournament to cheer on mascots as much as anything else. But it was a great time. Those of you that were there, I hope you had a fun time. If you weren't there, I hope you missed it and you know that we had a special time. And next time we do something, we'd love to have you there because I love being able to spend time with you guys, not just doing ministry, but doing life. So thanks for what you do. It's just a small way that we attempted to thank you guys for being involved in the ministry. A couple things to let you know about today. The first of which is more of an encouragement and an informational thing. But this past Sunday, I finished my tenure of teaching in the Parental Guidance Life Community. It's a brand new life community that started this semester for parents of middle school and high school students. And we went through a book by Reggie Joiner it's called Parenting Beyond Your Capacity. And we looked at different things that help parents parent beyond their capacity. This life community is great. If you have the opportunity to encourage parents of students in your group, 11 o'clock on Sunday mornings in the modular. It's a great community, great way to experience community and fellowship when it comes to doing life together within the church and in the season of parenting middle school and high school students. But the last thing that we talked about was making it personal, making your relationship with God as a parent personal so that it can become influential in the lives of your kids. And we've been looking through Deuteronomy chapter 6, and a lot of the things that we've been digging through I have found to be applicable to my life. So I just want to share one. In Deuteronomy 6, Moses is giving this big speech. He's given the Ten Commandments. The Israelites have been wandering around the desert for 40 years. They've come out of slavery. They've experienced the desert, and they are about to experience the Promised Land. And in chapter 6, Moses talks about some of the things that they have to be intentional about as the country that has a relationship with God. They have to be intentional about certain things. And one of the big things that he hits on is he talks about the fact that they're getting ready to walk into a promised land where there's going to be cities they didn't have to build, there's going to be vineyards they didn't have to plant, the houses are going to be filled with food, things they didn't have to grow or work for. It's going to be handed to them. And the biggest thing that Moses tries to instill in these families and these people is to not forget the Lord. Remember Him. Put His commandments on your heart. Make the things of God so personal and so connected with your identity that everywhere you go, you see it. And then the last thing in verse, I believe, 12 of chapter 6, Moses says, "Don't forget the Lord who brought you out of slavery, who brought you out of Egypt." As a family, I made the equation that these kids who were born in the desert, they didn't know slavery. They didn't experience what God did to get them out of there. All they'd experienced was the blah of being in the desert, and they were about to experience the amazing blessing of being in the Promised Land. And what Moses is saying is, whether you're in the desert or you're about to be in the Promised Land, remember that God brought you out of slavery. So I just encourage you with that. Whether you're feeling the desert right now and you're drained and you're exhausted, or you're experiencing the blessing, don't forget. Continue to remember. Instill in your heart. Let His commands be so personal in you, because He is the same God that brought us out of slavery, that brought us out of Egypt. And even though we've had our struggles that have led to attitude problems and pushback on God that's led to 40 years in the desert, He is the one who's delivered us into a promised land. Both now in our lives, but even bigger in eternity, we get to experience the promised land of eternity with Him. Remember that He's the God that got us out of slavery. He's the God who freed us from the consequences of our sins. And that's the God that we get to worship. That's the God that gets to be involved in every facet of our lives. So I hope that's encouraging to you. It's been great for me this week to kind of see my life through that light and to be reminded of that. Okay, some things that are coming up. Fuse, first couple weeks here. From now, we have 3 weeks of a series that's called Rabbi Messiah Friend. We're going to be looking at leading into the Easter week, the Passion Week, we're going to be talking about the identity of Jesus and how certain people saw him, different angles of him that other people didn't see. So we're going to see how Peter saw Jesus as a rabbi and how he saw him as this teacher, not just someone who gave information, but someone that he could really model his life after, and the struggles and the tensions that he felt with that process. The next week, Pastor Don is going to be coming to Fuse on March 16th to speak, and he's going to be talking about Thomas and how Thomas, the disciple, struggled with his doubts. He struggled with the anxiety of Christ being the Messiah and him being really who he said he was. And the last we're going to talk about Jesus being a friend, how he is a relational person. He's not just a God who put things in motion and then has kind of left us on our own. He is a God who is intentional to come down and be with us and be relational with us, to be our friend. So it's going to be a great series. I'm really looking forward to it. Okay, 3 last quick things. The first is for everybody. Next Steps class has been going on. Last couple weeks we haven't had many students show up for that, but if you have a student in your group, or if your entire group doesn't have a place to serve on Sunday mornings, or you know people who are kind of new to Westover, new to Fuse, and just trying to get more information, I would strongly encourage them to be at the Next Steps class this week and next week. So this coming Sunday and the next Sunday. At 9:30 in the Fuse Cafe, there's usually donuts or Bojangles, Bowberry biscuits, or something like that. This Sunday, though, we're doing a spiritual gifts assessment, a survey of spiritual gifts to kind of help identify the sweet spot of serving for students. So make sure that you have them there for that. And then the next week is a serving tour. So if you have students in your group that don't plug in anywhere on Sunday mornings and they need a place to serve, a place to connect, this is a great way to make that happen. So I strongly encourage you. You can bring your whole group, bring your whole small group with you on Sunday morning at 9:30 and go through it together and find a place to serve, maybe even for all of you to serve in the same place. We'll see how that works out. So that's coming up this coming Sunday at 9:30. Also, to have on your radar, Project Serve signups. We've got like 2.5 weeks left until the cutoff of registration, but to be completely honest, we have about 68 spots left before we have to draw a line. So I don't know if we're even going to get to the deadline of registration before we get to the cap of students that can sign up. And I did some quick math. If everyone who went to Project Serve last year and everyone who went to Mars Hill last year, that's available to go this year, so not last year seniors that wouldn't go to Project Serve, but everyone who is eligible for Project Serve this year, if they all try to register now, we will have a waiting list of like 45 people, because we've had people who didn't go last year that have already registered. So if you have students who are interested in going, they're just waiting for some reason, don't let them wait. Make sure they get registered now, because we don't want them to be on a waiting list. And really and truly, our waiting list is heavily dependent on how many volunteers we have to go. So if you're interested in going, please let Lindsay know. There's a quick web form to fill out just so we have the right information for you for driving and insurance and stuff like that. So let Lindsay know so she can be there. It's going to be awesome to be back in Atlanta. We're working with a lot of places that we've worked with before and a few new places that we haven't worked with before. So it's going to be an awesome trip. It's Saturday to Saturday, June 18th to 25th, and just make sure that as you're communicating it to parents and to families, that this is, especially this year, we're going to be front-loading a lot of training and intentional group development things on the beginning of the trip. So if they can't be there from Saturday morning, June 18th, until we return on Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening on June 25th, then it's not something that they can do. We're not doing this drop in, come late, leave early. We can't do that with the way that it's done, the dynamics are this year. So please make sure that you make sure parents are aware of that. One last thing, if you have a group of juniors, one last thing, if you have a group of juniors, they will be seniors next year. This past year, we did a trip to the Passion Conference in Atlanta, and we're going to go again this coming January, so next January, 10 months from now, which will be including next year's seniors. So if you have a group of juniors and you would like for them to be involved in the Passion Conference, the cost is $260. That covers the ticket, that covers transportation, that covers hotel, and I believe that usually covers one meal while we're there. But everything else will be on your own. So it's only $260, which is really not that